It all started with a blocked driveway and a fake security badge. I thought it was just another petty HOA dispute. I had no idea that morning would lead me to uncover a 5-year-old lie, a mountain of corruption, and a secret that would bring down an entire HOA. This isn't just a story about violations and bylaws, it's about standing up when no one else will. And what happens when the truth finally comes to light? It was supposed to be just another hectic morning. I was already late for a major presentation that could land me a long-awaited promotion. But the moment I stepped outside, coffee in hand, and laptop bag slung over my shoulder, my heart dropped. There it was again, the HOA car, parked across my driveway. Except it wasn't a real HOA vehicle. It was Patricia Thompson's personal sedan, a faded silver thing, with a magnetic Sunrise Valley HOA security sign slapped crookedly on the side. She sat inside it with the windows down, clipboard in hand, as if she were guarding a nuclear facility instead of a quiet cul-de-sac. "Morning," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "You're blocking my driveway again." She gave me a tight, plastic smile. "Routine inspection. We received multiple complaints about your property." I blinked. "What complaints?" She glanced at her clipboard. Holiday lights still up in April. Improperly stored trash bins. Overgrown grass. "None of that applies." I said, "The decorations aren't mine. The bins are in my garage. I mowed 2 days ago." She shrugged. "I'm authorized to conduct inspections and restrict access during active investigations." It was absurd, and I was done playing nice. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Patricia," I said, "under what authority are you conducting this investigation?" She tapped the magnet on her door. "I'm with the HOA." I zoomed in on the magnet. No seal. No vehicle ID. Just a cheap sign you could order online. I didn't know it yet. But this moment, this ordinary standoff in front of my driveway, was the beginning of the end for her. That night, after my presentation, I sat down with a drink and started digging. I wanted to understand how someone like Patricia had gotten this much control. I pulled up Sunrise Valley HOA's incorporation records. What I found stopped me cold. The HOA's legal status had expired 5 years ago. It wasn't just dormant, it had never been renewed. No taxes filed. No official board elections. Technically, legally, the HOA no longer existed. Yet Patricia had been issuing fines, hosting board meetings, threatening legal action, and no one had questioned it. I wasn't just angry, I was stunned. Over the next few days, I went deeper. I found neighbors who'd been fined for imaginary violations. Maria had been forced to remove her vegetable garden. Tom, a retired vet recovering from surgery, had received notices about unauthorized structural modifications for a wheelchair ramp. The HOA had no jurisdiction over half our street due to a zoning boundary no one had looked at in decades. Patricia wasn't enforcing rules. She was playing God. And then things got darker. I found contracts, shady deals between the HOA and local contractors for overpriced services. I found duplicate violation letters with forged digital signatures. I found that Patricia had never been elected to any board. She simply declared herself chair after the previous president moved away, and no one stopped her. It wasn't just mismanagement. It was fraud. So I decided to fight back. I started with the county records office. Betty, a sharp-eyed clerk with a no-nonsense attitude, helped me pull the original documents. I showed her what I'd found. Her brows rose. "This is way beyond HOA drama," she said. "You need to go to the state auditor." Before I could, Patricia started following me. Her car appeared behind mine at the grocery store, parked across from my house late at night. Always watching, always waiting. I reported it to the police. I spoke to Officer Ramirez, took it seriously. "You're not the first," he said, "but you might be the first with evidence." We gathered everything: expired documents, neighbor testimonies, video footage of harassment, financial records. I sent it all anonymously to the state auditor's office. But I wasn't finished. I wanted Patricia to see what accountability looked like. At the next HOA board meeting, I walked in with a manila folder. Several neighbors at my side. Tom was there, leaning on his cane. Maria held up pictures of her destroyed garden. Even Linda, Patricia's former assistant, showed up unexpectedly when Patricia tried to open the meeting. I interrupted her. "This meeting is illegal." I said, "This HOA hasn't legally existed in 5 years." She scoffed. But I laid out the documents: expired articles of incorporation, false notices, forged signatures. Her face began to crack. Then Linda stepped forward and delivered the final blow. "I sent everything to the state auditor," she said, "and I quit. You're on your own now." Patricia stood up and pointed at me. "You're the one who started this. You think you can destroy everything we built. You destroyed it," I said. "We're just making sure you don't do it to anyone else." And then, as if the universe was waiting for a cue, 2 plainclothes officers walked into the room. They approached Patricia. She tried to leave. They stopped her. "You're under arrest for impersonating an official and fraudulent use of public funds," one said calmly. The room went silent. Someone gasped, then clapped. By that night, the story was on the news. Local HOA president arrested for fraud. Harassment. Our neighborhood, once ruled by fear and silence, erupted with a kind of cautious hope. Over the following weeks, neighbors started organizing not under an HOA, but as a community. We held barbecues, cleanups, built Tom a better ramp. Maria replanted her garden. With help from 3 families who had never spoken before, the fines stopped. The fear vanished. The sense of ownership returned. One afternoon, Officer Ramirez stopped by while I was watering the lawn. "You did good," he said. "You didn't just shut them down. You woke them up." I smiled. All I wanted was to get to work that morning. He laughed. "Guess you ended up working on something much bigger." He wasn't wrong. Sometimes, justice doesn't start in a courtroom. It starts in a driveway.